Any other just rando news before we get into the summer wrap up?
I think we're ready for that.
We're gonna do Wes Craven thing, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Wes Craven passing away.
Yeah.
Big bummer. Big bummer.
Well, he was 173.
Yeah, right. I think he was actually like 76.
Yeah.
Which is old, but you know.
No.
Here's the thing: I never knew he was sick. Apparently, he's had brain cancer for like a year or two.
Yeah.
And they've kept it real hush hush.
Well, that's cool.
Was he still working? Did he still have things in production?
I know he was like producing the Scream television show.
Oh, yay.
But I think the last movie he made was what? My Soul to Take.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's been quite a few years.
Which is an amazingly bad movie, but in like I don't know how that movie is not a cult. That movie, My Soul to Take, I guarantee it will be a cult classic in like 10 to 15 years. Because it's bad. It's not a good movie, but it's one of those like amazingly bad movies.
So bad you could watch it.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell whether Wes Craven was taking it seriously or if he was like setting out to make it bad. It's one of those type of things. And if you guys haven't seen it, definitely watch it. But yeah, what was the last thing he really did film wise? Not writing,
like a director.
Yeah.
It's got 29 credits. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Scream 4, 2011.
Okay, so which was
Screforum?
Which was Screforum, yeah. So which is
My Soul to Take. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Look, check it out. I don't think it's on Netflix, but definitely try.
Oh, I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
What was that? Like 2009?
Oh gosh.
10? No, I had to be before 10.
Yeah.
Scream was in 11. But yeah, oh my god, we're gonna.
2010.
Was 10? Oh
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely marathon some Wes Craven movies. I just was not expecting him to kick the bucket so soon.
Do we want to do a favorite Wes Craven movie or moment?
Well, if we're going best Wes Craven movie on a production,
not best,
and cultural impact, I'd say Elm Street is probably his atom bomb. Just because it was so well made and it had such an impact on pop culture.
Right.
And there's no way that. I mean, if that was going into the canon of best movies, it would have to be that.
Let's keep it personal.
But personally,
let's keep it personal because this is a tribute to him. Wes Craven for you.
Are we doing as director, producer, writer?
Whatever you want to do.
For me, directing wise, I really love his first film actually, Last House on the Left. Just the shotgun mastery of the camera that he has in that first movie, and it's such a gritty, dirty, ugly movie, you know. And I don't think he's recaptured the dirtiness of what that movie represented. Also, The Hills Have Eyes. That is, I think, him firing on all cylinders from a thematic level to a visual level.
Right.
I mean, like, the imagery in that movie is so iconic too. I think Hills Have Eyes is just as iconic as Elm Street. It just didn't hit the pop culture sensation that Elm Street did.
Yeah.
Those are my two picks for probably my favorite movies of his.
Right.
All right. Well, I'll acknowledge Scream for what it was because Scream did a lot, and you know I had some fun with at least the first one.
I love what Scream did for the slasher.
Yeah.
You know, it really brought
Although
the
I
slasher
do
back.
hate what it did for movie buffs.
Yeah.
Because that turned being a movie buff into a joke.
Yeah.
Because you had the jokey character in there who did all the, you know. But
oh, that's right.
But no, there's a big part inside me that's just screaming to say Swamp Thing. I gotta go to Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I think he co-wrote that.
I got him here as writer
and director, right?
Yep, writer and director.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, with Leanne Wayne. Oh, he was the comic writer.
Oh,
so
okay.
he was straight up the writer of the movie.
Yeah, nice.
For me, I'd have to go with Elm Street. At first, I would go with Elm Street because that was
the very first, right?
The very first Elm Street movie. It was very iconic, and he did something that nobody else did. He took he took your fears in your dreams and made them a reality, and that was just awesome for a 5-year-old.
Well, yeah, like what a terrifying.
I love all these movies that we all watched way before we were
Way
old
too
enough
young.
to-
Yeah, that was like my childhood was personified by watching movies that I shouldn't have been watching.
Yeah.
But it shaped me. So.
But now that that it has been brought to light that he had a part in Swamp Thing, or a huge part in Swamp Thing, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up between those two for me because I loved Swamp Thing. It was another one that scared the crap out of me because I was a kid, but it was such an awesome movie. Yeah. And going back and rereading the saga of the Swamp Thing that I'm doing now, it is just better for me. So it's a toss-up between the first Elm Street and Swamp Thing for me.
Yeah, man. And Freddy Krueger, just what an iconic character to make. And one of the scariest concepts ever.
He got so intertwined with pop culture too, throughout all those movies.
Yeah.
Pop culture references were brought into the movies, and he was brought into pop culture at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
like here's one of the most terrifying creations to ever be put on screen, and he became such a beloved character that he became almost a good guy, almost a comedian even.
Yeah.
You know,
well, towards the end of the run.
Well, they got
Freddy's
a
dead,
little jokey with some
they
of
got
the
quite
movies.
jokey with
In Freddy vs. Jason, who do you root for?
Well, yeah.
It's whoever you're going to
Ash.
You
whoever
have
you
to
think is the hero.
You have to go with your favorite out of those two. I always rooted for Freddy.
Right. But he's a sociopathic, psychotic,
I know,
supernatural,
but it's weird because you
evil guy.
And you,
But you're rooting for him.
all those things, and you still feel like you could have a beer with him.
Right.
And it's like, and then after the beer and you pass out because you're drunk, he then fucking kills you.
Yeah.
You know, what are
Crushing
those
kills you.
situations? Yeah, right.
I know that movie. I'm still just sad that wasn't Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
I know they had after that movie came out, there was legitimate rumblings of doing that movie with Ash.
They were going to do it originally.
Yeah. Before the.
Yeah, the original version of Freddy versus Jason was going to be Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. The reason it didn't happen was because Raimi insisted that Ash has to win because Ash is the good guy.
Yeah.
And they said no.
Wasn't there also a Freddy versus Jason versus Hellraiser? Or Hellraiser was part of that group at one point.
I think he was part of that group at one point. I don't know whatever became of those, but
I mean, maybe.
I still would love to see a movie like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
There is a comic miniseries for it.
With all three of them?
All three of them. It's really good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I read it. It's really good.
Because Ash is another one of those characters, just like Freddy and Jason, where at the same time he's both a terrifying presence, but but also I don't want to say a comedy, but he's also something light that people can gravitate to and not necessarily relate to, but you can root for, cheer for.
Terrifying presence. I don't know if I would go that far, Sam.
Well, he's not terrifying as you're afraid of this guy, but terrifying presence as here's a horror icon. Here's a horror a character that's a staple of the horror genre, and you look at Ash and Evil Dead. Just like a character staple of the horror genre would be Freddy, would be Jason, would be Hellraiser, would be Michael Myers. All these people
a college
are horror
student with a sawed-off shotgun in one hand and a chainsaw for the other hand, running at me, screaming bad magic language.
Yeah.
Especially if he goes all Deadite, I'm probably gonna shit myself.
Right, and how intense that he got in those movies. He gets real,
and remember,
scarily
he goes
intense.
Straight up Deadite a couple times.
Yeah.
He was infected by the book.
That's true.
But he's different in the sense that he may not be so much clearly a hero, but he's definitely not a villain.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's not
those other guys are definitely villains, except for in the Freddy vs. Jason, where you kind of are rooting for one of the villains.
Well,
but those other guys are definitely villains.
Even with that movie, I'll go on a limb and say Freddy was straight up the villain of that movie, because even towards the end, the entire reason why Jason turns against him, and why Jason was essentially seen as a villain in those movies, was because Freddy was manipulating him.
Right.
Yeah, see, I've never read into the movies of Friday the 13th as Jason being the villain. He was never a villain to me because those movies are made for you to watch him kill these horrible, shitty teenagers. And that's always been the point of those movies.
If you notice,
watching him kill these horrible fucking people.
And if you notice, he gives them a moment too.
Yeah,
he'll stop. He does not come out of nowhere and kill them the way a lot of slashers do. He'll walk up. No, he'll stop. He'll give them a second to be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, sorry, we're done fucking in your woods."
Yeah, right.
But they never do.
Yeah.
They either don't. Maybe they don't notice him and just keep fucking sometimes. Or they'll run away from him or scream at him and try and attack him, and then he's like, "All right, well, fuck it."
I don't know. You guys are treading on some, I like saying, some thin ice there with that analysis. I don't know. It seems like not easily supported.
Analysis? That's how those movies are presented.
Because they could be douchebags and they can fuck around. And
You're telling me
they can even ignore. But the ultimate question is, what makes him a villain is that he decides that that's worth killing them for.
Yeah,
and
because
that's
these are
90% of our population.
These are horrible, highly stylized, shitty teenagers. There's in no way are you supposed to feel for these people, root for these people, think that they're good people.
I don't see where you're getting that because how
are you not seeing? That's what the movies are. Here's Fred. Here's
no,
Jason.
I don't know that I'm talking about Jason specifically.
Yeah, me too.
Those people there, some of them are just people that live out in the woods. They're not the teenagers that he brutalizes and murders.
Okay, the good Jason movies.
They're going to Camp Crystal Lake and the surrounding woods. That's his territory.
Right.
Outside of Freddy Goes to Manhattan, which was a fucking shitty movie. The only time the only time he leaves Crystal Lake is to avenge his mother's death. In part 2, at the very beginning of part 2. And then he goes right back to Crystal Lake.
Right.
So the only reason that he's killing these people
Get off my lawn!
Because they're on his lawn. Because they're trying to reopen the camp with all of these self-centered counselors. No, stop.
Guys.
And the reason that he's going after them in the first place was because he got fucked over by the same type of people.
Mm-hmm.
So
even the people that are not the shitty teenagers are still people that are in no way written or presented visually in the movie as people that you should root for or relate to or want to live. In some way, they're terrible people.
Here's the thing. In the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, I have totally rooted for the people getting killed.
Yeah.
I've totally rooted for at least one or two of them. I really want you to live. Scream, same deal. I've totally rooted for. I'm really hoping you make it out of this movie. Cabin in the Woods, again. I cannot name a single character in any Friday the 13th movie I've seen where I've been like, yeah, I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, they died.
Well,
that was shit.
Yeah, it's more like, Jason, yeah, kill this bastard.
But are you yelling that because they're genuinely evil people? And
they don't need to be
evil. Good?
They don't need to be evil.
Or that they deserve
We're not even saying that he's a force of good.
That doesn't make any
sense. They do
to
deserve that because they're in a horror movie that's made to see them die.
Well, that's not a reason. That's not their reason to be killed.
And I'm not saying that he's a force of good.
They're just set up to be killed. I understand that, but I don't see those people as like Nazis who are gassing Jews.
They don't need
it's
to.
It's not always good versus evil. By the way,
they're just there.
It could be evil versus evil.
They're just there on vacation, or they're there opening up a camp for kids or getting it set up,
or they're a bunch of camp counselors who don't give a shit about the kids and just want to fucking do drugs.
I don't see where any of that has happened though. I don't see any of them.
Isn't that what the first 2 movies are about? Is a bunch of shitty camp counselors who just fucking drink and do drugs? They don't give a shit about the kids.
They're on vacation or they're hanging out. I don't know that there are any kids around. I just binge watched it.
But that's also his origin story. Is he died because of
a bunch of fucking shitty kids at camp?
Yeah. Yes, but does that automatically mean that anybody that steps foot on that area therefore is bad and must be killed?
They don't need to be bad to be killed. You're stepping foot into a movie that is designed to have you die.
I guess
anything that they do is grounds for them getting killed because that's what the movie is there for.
But then you can say that about any character in any movie.
No, you can't. You can't say that about the first Nightmare
Here's the
on Elm
thing:
Street.
a movie can sit there and guide you to who to root for. Yes, in a slasher movie, on some level, you're always going to root for the slasher because that's who you walked in the theater to see.
Right.
I didn't walk in to see, Colleen, the co-ed.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in to see Freddy. But it can also guide you to, you know what? I was rooting for Linda and Shelley and all them in Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I was rooting for them to somehow get past this.
Right.
I was rooting for Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And in Saw, even in the first Saw movie, because that's the only one I give a shit about.
It's the only good one.
It was the only good one. There are characters you're rooting for them to get past Jigsaw.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to overcome this. Oh my God, unstoppable
Right.
menace. There are people that you want to overcome. Michael Myers. I don't know. They present these characters in Friday the 13th in a way where they're not intending for you to want any of them to overcome Jason.
I don't know. I just see them as like normal kids who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Normal kids for the time that they are in, which is you get beer in the 70s, early 80s, you have sex, you do drugs, and they just happen to be in the wrong place.
Well, and
by virtue of that, doesn't necessarily mean that they deserve to get killed. I think that's part of the horror of that film.
But
is that nobody deserves getting a spike shoved through their eye or their head crushed by some zombie brute. Nobody deserves that, no matter what you're doing there.
Well,
we do expect it, but no one deserves
Well, in the
that.
70s,
None of them deserve it, but if you watch the movies, the only people they get out are the pure ones and the ones that can run
Well, that's the thing. Those movies in the 70s and 80s, especially because of the way culture and society was working, kids doing that, drinking,
Right.
doing drugs, having sex,
That was the
debauchery,
Yeah.
that was presented as evil
Yes.
in the culture
Yes.
of the 70s and 80s.
And that's what Jason was, let's call it, fighting
Right.
against.
There's no
Right.
moral standing that they're putting people into a good pantheon or a bad pantheon. It's just a balancing act of here's a force and it's rectifying
The evils of society. Well, not the evils of society, but the things the filmmaker is seeing wrong with.
right. It's rectifying counterculture.
Right.
So I don't know. I think we're gonna have a whole
Whole other
horror
thing on that.
podcast now.
Yeah.
Now after all the
I was
Isn't that what
thinking
we
about
basically
reaching
just
out
did?
to Cleve. What was his name?
Cleveland Brown,
No, Cleve. It's not Clive Owens.
Clive Barker.
I don't know.
Um,
Well, anyway, my Wes Craven.
Charlie Daniels?
makes all these.
Oh, Rick
outrageous-
Baker. Rick Baker.
No, it's Cleve something. Anyway, I was gonna try reaching out to him, see if I can get him to post something on the Facebook page,
Yeah.
or because I'm friends with him on Facebook. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was
He
thinking
should go by
about
the name Meat Cleave.
I'm gonna have to put it in the description or something.
Well, what about you,
I'm friends
Rob?
with the guy, but I can't remember his name.
What's your
Just to get back to what we had talked
your
about.
your top Craven memory or
Like I can watch Swamp Thing over and over again.
mm-hmm.
I think that's awesome. And
When
I'm
you
probably one of the
versus
few
art.
people that liked Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh my God! I forgot about Vampire.
I didn't
Brooklyn.
know
like
he was
that one a
attached
lot.
to that.
Yeah, I
He's
forgot about
director.
that. He was director of that.
But I'd have to say with and I actually had to review this myself because I always considered
Hall.
the first moment that films did something for me was Batman '89
Yeah.
because it showed me that a film can affect more than just you being in the audience with all these people watching this movie for
Yeah.
the first time.
Right,
we all
right.
have this collective sense of awe.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to Nightmare on Elm Street
Yeah.
for me.
It's an atom bomb of a movie. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really, really affected me on such a deep level that films can physically
Yeah.
affect you.
Yeah.
And that was probably the first time. Up
That's,
until then,
and
I was
that's
just a casual viewer.
good cinema. Right
That
there.
is good cinema, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to go with Elm Street on that one.
Yeah.
The original, the first one.
Yeah.
I also really like New Nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of the few who like Dream Warriors. And Dream Warriors is one of the hokier ones.
That's the one in the mental hospital, right?
I believe so. There's so many of them. I get them all confused.
Yeah, it's Dream Warriors in the mental hospital, and then it's Dream Child.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, there was Dream Child.
Dream Warriors and Dream Child are pretty good. It's
Yeah.
the second one. The fourth, fifth, and sixth that were kind of iffy. For
Yeah,
me.
that was ones where their tone was just
Fifth, sixth, and
they didn't know what they
seventh,
wanted to be. They
Yeah.
want to be the the joke that it had become, or did they want to be a legitimate horror movie?
Right, and they kind of, by the time they got to Freddy's Dead, it was a horror comedy. Yeah, that horror of Jason, or
that's why New Nightmare
Freddy.
was so great, because they tried to bring it
because
back.
Wes Craven, he wrote and directed that, didn't he? Because he wanted to bring it back to its roots.
Yeah, he wanted to bring back the horror stuff.
3 is Dream Warriors.
Oh, 3 is Dream.
Yeah,
4 is Dream
is
Master.
Dream-
5 is Dream Child.
Master.
2 is Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah, I did not like Freddy's Revenge.
No,
Did not
that
like
that one
Freddy's
does not
Revenge.
hold up to the rest of them.
God, 3 was Dream War? I could have swore that
Yeah.
was 4.
No,
Wait,
that seems
that
right.
sounds about right, yeah.
Because it had Arquette.
Oh my god, it did.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
She started it.
Well,
Rest-
lost of good talent.
Yeah,
Great-
definitely lost a
great
good
filmmaker
talent.
there.
And, you know, it's always sad when a filmmaker dies or passes away like this, but it's always a cool opportunity to
Reflect. And,
revisit his
Yeah.
filmography and just to really realize why he was important. And he, you know, he's one of those filmmakers where there's a void that'll be left and nobody can fill that. And
But
that,
people will try.
That's the way it should be. It should be that nobody could fill him, but there should be people that aspire to that.
Yeah.